What's up, everybody? Here are your daily fantasy baseball matchups for August 23rd, 2020. First game we're going over is the last game of the day, the 7 o'clock game. Philadelphia Phillies at Atlanta Braves. Zach Eflin versus Josh Tomlin. Adam Duvall and Ender Inciarte are my targets today in this Braves lineup. Each guy has homered twice against Eflin in their careers. Josh Tomlin has given up one home run to this Phillies lineup in Gene Segura. Segura is my guy to target in that Phillies lineup. Next game up, Texas Rangers at Seattle Mariners, 4:10 start time. The lefty Mike Minor versus the righty Justin Dunn. I like Mike Minor a lot today. The Mariners have not been good against lefties. They have been 66 weighted runs created plus. Now to explain that to you, 100 weighted runs created plus is called league average. So this is showing a team's total production versus lefties throughout the whole season. This is saying that Seattle Mariners have been 34% worse than league average this season versus lefties. So you could say that means they either are underperforming versus lefties, which is a valid criticism with only 277 plate appearances, or there's something about the Mariners batters that means they're just not as good against lefties as other teams are. Both are very possible possibilities, and the truth is that both of those things are true to some extent. It's probably true that the Mariners aren't as bad as lefties as they have been, but it's also true that because they've been so bad, that is indicative of some lack of skill against lefties that team has. So target Mike Minor today against that Mariners lineup who struggles against lefties. The one guy I like in that Mariners lineup is Austin Nola. For this Rangers lineup, not a lot of data available. 3 plate appearances max against Justin Dunn. Take a look at Solak. He's been a good cheap option. Take a look at Evan White too in this Mariners lineup. He's been getting some buzz, and he's a low value pick that will save you some money to spend on higher end players. Next game up, Arizona Diamondbacks at San Francisco Giants. Luke Weaver versus Trevor Cahill. I've always been a Luke Weaver guy. He had a good start last week. I would not avoid him today, especially since he's in AT&T Park, big ballpark. I like Yastrzemski, but he's going to cost you. It's a big ballpark. It's hard to hit home run in AT&T. You kind of want to avoid hitters when they're playing there. Trevor Cahill going against his Diamondbacks lineup. 2 home runs to Escobar and 2 plate appearances. Definitely look at Eduardo Escobar today as a guy to go yard. Besides that, David Peralta, and we're on to the next game. Los Angeles Angels at Oakland Athletics. Dylan Bundy versus Frankie Montas. Bundy has been pretty good so far this year. I'm not a believer in it. I don't think it's going to last. By all means, pay the $10,000 today. But this Oakland lineup has not been a pushover. Those Mats have some pop. 3 home runs for Chris Davis versus Dylan Bundy. 1 for Stephen Piscotty and 1 for Matt Olson. I can't suggest Chris Davis. I don't know if he's turned it around yet this season. I would say you want to target Stephen Piscotty the most because of the value, and maybe actually Tony Kemp, who has the highest OPS in this Oakland lineup versus Dylan Bundy so far in 8 plate appearances. And all these guys in Oakland have at least 10 plate appearances except for Austin Allen. So you can have some faith that Tony Kemp, Chris Davis, Marcus Semien, and Piscotty, not Piscotty, but those guys at the top, Kemp, Davis, and Semien, they're solid targets today. But again, Oakland Athletics, that's a huge ballpark. If you can pick batters going against Oakland or Cincinnati, pick the guys going in Cincinnati. Pick the guys going in Houston. Ballpark matters when it comes to your hitters. You don't want to have a bunch of hitters going in AT&T Park and at the Coliseum, huge giant stadiums with a lot of foul territory for them to foul out. Frankie Montas going against his Angels lineup has not given up any home runs thus far. Jason Castro and Pujols are at the top on OPS. No direct suggestions here for this Angels lineup. Again, big ballpark, not a lot of homer potential besides Trout and Rendon. Next game up, Rockies at Dodgers. Antonio Senzatella has given up 1 homer to Pollock, 1 to Seager, and 1 to Jock Peterson. Definitely take a look at Jock Peterson and Pollock today as cheaper options. Ross Stripling going against his Rockies lineup has given up 1 home run to Nolan Arenado and has not given up any home runs to anyone else. I like Stripling a lot today. I'll show you why. This is showing the data for right-handed pitchers versus offense. And the Rockies have been 21% worse than league average versus right-handers. And they're going in Los Angeles in the Dodger Stadium, not in Colorado Rockies Stadium. Dodger Stadium is known as a pitcher's park. Ross Stripling hasn't been too good so far, but he's a good pitcher. He's not a pushover. He's not just some guy. He can put stuff together. So definitely take a look at Ross Stripling today. Houston Astros at San Diego Padres. My guy Zach Greinke versus, I think, the rookie left-hander Adrian Morejon. We saw him last week. No at-bats to talk about him. If you want to take a look at Morejon, you can. I mean, going against the Houston lineup, you're kind of bugging. They're the best team versus lefties today. But again, you might need to get those cheap pitchers in. Maybe you get Senzatel's not a great choice, but there is something to be said for targeting one of those $7,000 pitchers or $6,000 pitchers. I'm going to show you my budget pitchers when the video is over. My budget pitchers tend to be around anywhere from $5,500 to about, I would say, $8,000, maybe $750. I try not to go over $8,000 because I don't know how much of a budget that is if the pitcher costs you $8,000. I would love to recommend Zach Greinke today, but this Padres lineup has been scary. Of course, you got Fernando Tatis, NL MVP frontrunner at the top with 1 home run and 6 plate appearances. Then you have Austin Hedges, Eric Hosmer, and Will Myers, each with a homer. I like Eric Hosmer's price today, though. It seems like DraftKings does not buy into Eric Hosmer's fly ball revolution, and they think he's the same old Eric Hosmer. I think the new Eric Hosmer gets more extra base hits and a higher OPS than the old Eric Hosmer. Will Myers, too, seems to have made some changes in the offseason. He seems to be a new player. Definitely look at Eric Hosmer and Will Myers today. Again, I would love to suggest Zach Greinke, but for that price and for going against the Padres, I mean, it's just not a guarantee. You know, that lineup can hit you and hit you hard. Chicago White Sox at Chicago Cubs. I like this guy a lot, Dylan Cease, but I'm shocked. I would love to recommend him, but I'm shocked to see Dylan Cease going for only $500 less than Zach Greinke. Guys, Zach Greinke is a Hall of Famer. Dylan Cease, I don't think has made 10 starts in the major leagues yet, 15 starts in the major leagues yet. And he hasn't, I mean, he showed he had a great fastball and he has the stuff, but he hasn't used the stuff yet. But he's getting a high price, so maybe there's something we don't know about this Cubs lineup today. You know, maybe take Cease as a little contrarian play. He's not in my pitcher recommendations, as you'll see. Neither is Darvish because the steep price and because this White Sox lineup did hit some homers off Hendricks yesterday. It only gave up 3 runs. But this White Sox lineup can hit you with some homers with Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert. And that's one of the things with this thing I do is Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, they never show up here because they haven't versed any of these pitchers. So I'm going to this White Sox lineup, I never see them. And then I watch the video, oh, Luis Robert hits 2 home runs. Man, those guys, Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, can hit some freaking dingers. Watch out for this White Sox team. This White Sox team, the Marlins team, the Orioles team, I'm going to say maybe even Detroit. You know, these teams used to just be pushovers. The Royals, I don't know if it's the shortened season maybe, but something about this year, these pushover teams are not the pushovers they used to be. And they're not the guarantees they used to be, especially that Orioles and Marlins rosters. I mean, those teams, you used to have Scherzer gave up 4 runs against the Marlins yesterday. You used to have Scherzer going against the Marlins. You could write that down already. 7 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, maybe 1 or 2 earned runs. It's just not the same kind of environment with there's less parity maybe between teams now. There's less of a difference, less inequality. It's more of an equal distribution with talent, I guess. But after that tangent's over, I like Edwin Encarnacion today, James McCann, and Jose Abreu. Also, take a look at Nomar Mazara. I don't think he's went deep yet, but I said this maybe like a week ago, but he's been walking pretty well. I don't know if the walking has sustained itself, but I don't think he's yet to go yard yet. He's definitely a guy that will get a couple homers this year. So keep an eye on him the next couple days. I mean, he's so cheap, you might as well just throw him in your lineup. When he does homer, you get the production, you save the money. Next game up, Reds at Cardinals. Tyler Mahle versus, I love saying this name, Daniel Ponce de Leon. Best name in baseball. Daniel Ponce de Leon. Daniel Ponce de Leon has given up no homers versus this Reds lineup. That doesn't mean that you avoid them. You get Nick Castellanos, you get Jesse Winker, you get them. Honestly, you don't really get anyone else in that Reds lineup. But Cardinals going against Tyler Mahle, 1 homer for Yadier Molina, 1 homer for Dexter Fowler. Definitely like those guys today. Fowler more so for the value. Also take a look at Tyler O'Neill, who seems to be figuring things out a little bit. Kind of like what I was saying about Kyle Tucker. Not the same prospect pedigree as Kyle Tucker. But Tyler O'Neill seems to be figuring something out. Seems to be tapping into more contact ability to maximize his power. And his whole offensive profile in general. Minnesota Twins at Kansas City Royals. Matt Wisler versus Chris Bubik. Wisler has given up 1 homer to McBroom and 2 to Franco. Can't really suggest these guys. I'm not a big Miguel Franco guy, but honestly, I can't be biased. I got to acknowledge my bias. So pick up Miguel Franco today. He obviously performs well against Matt Wisler. They are in Kansas City, though, not the best ballpark for hitters. Nelson Cruz with 1 homer versus Bubic, only Twins with a home run against him. You're picking up Cruz and you're picking up Polanco today in this Twins lineup. Next game up, Milwaukee Brewers at Pittsburgh Pirates. Corbin Burns, a guy I like a lot, going against this Pirates team. No homers given up, and actually some good at-bats against them. No lineup data for J.D. Brubaker versus this Milwaukee Brewers team. Definitely look at Corbin Burns today. I think he's an interesting option in Pittsburgh. Big ballpark. I like Corbin Burns a lot today. He might be my favorite. I think Corbin Burns is my favorite pitcher today, the target. Toronto Blue Jays at Tampa Bay Rays. Trent Thornton versus Josh Fleming. Thornton has given up 1 homer to Lau, 3 to Meadows, and 1 to Adames. I've been preaching about Lau for the whole season. His price is showing that now. Lau is getting up there with the elite prices, $5,400. I can't suggest Lau like I was before. Lau's not the value anymore. Maybe Willie Adames is the value. Maybe Kevin Kiermaier is the value. I mean, hell, Austin Meadows is going for cheaper than Lau, which is nuts. So take a look at Meadows, Adames. But I think we have to start pivoting on Lau. You know, everyone's zigged on Lau, and now we got to zag. We got to zag off him. It's too much money now. Next game up, Detroit Tigers at Cleveland Indians. A guy to keep your eye on, once again, Tarik Skubal. But I like Carlos Carrasco going against this Tigers lineup. Carrasco's been dominant. This Tigers lineup has been, I believe, dead last. Nope. They've been 4th versus righties, at least 4th today versus righties. Pittsburgh has been dead last versus righties. Then Milwaukee, then Texas. But this Tigers lineup has not been good against righties. Definitely look at Carrasco. I don't like any hitters on this Tigers lineup. Honestly, maybe Skubal is another guy you're taking a look at. Just like I said with Corbin Burns, maybe pair Skubal and Burns. Skubal is going against this Indians lineup. This Indians lineup, I do not believe, has been too good against right-handed pitchers. No, honestly, they've been 14% worse. Skubal is not a play today. He's not an easy play. Skubal is a guy, though, like I said again, I like Kyle Tucker. Skubal's a guy, once he has that first amazing start, that first 11 strikeout, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, once he has that start, that might just be like who he is. Once these guys that are really, really highly touted prospects, once they mess around a little bit in the major leagues, they struggle a little bit. Once they figure it out, though, and they have a couple, they have 1 good game for a pitcher, a couple games for a hitter, that could be indicative. You don't want to underreact. A lot of people say you don't want to overreact to players. You don't want to underreact and say, oh, well, that guy is just hot. Yeah, if he's hot for the whole season and the whole next season, that just means he's a great player. If he's hot for the next 5 years, he's just a great player. And if he has prospect pedigree and he gets hot, you really want to take note. So it's very important to know which guys have prospect pedigree, which guys were hyped up when they were younger. Guys like Kyle Lewis, I didn't know he had prospect pedigree. But when I figured that out, when I found out that Kyle Lewis was hyped up as a younger player, I bought a lot more into what he's doing now because the skill's there, the talent's there. He was already a highly touted player. This did not come out of nowhere. This was supposed to happen 3-4 years ago, Kyle Lewis, but injuries derailed him. Same, Tarik Skubal, I don't even should be talking. He just came up, He still has plenty of time to figure things out. But if you see Skubal struggle a little bit this year, or even a little bit into next year, don't just write him off. And if someone does write him off, then trade for him because these prospects sometimes need a year, 2, sometimes 3 years, sometimes 4 or 5 years to really become the players people expect them to be. Nomar Mazzario is a great case. He still has a couple years to transform into an amazing player. He's still only 24 or 25 years old. I mean, they say players don't hit their peaks until they're 28. If a guy's 25 and he's been in the league for 3 years and it didn't pan out yet, I don't give up on him, especially if they still have good plate discipline. Sorry for that tangent once again. Boston Red Sox at Baltimore Orioles. Zach Godley versus Wade LeBlanc. This will be a slugfest. Godley going against this Orioles lineup. Anthony Santander is trying to lead the league in home runs. Chance Sisco and Pedro Severino are probably the 2 best offensive catching tandems in the league right now, which is crazy. Pat Vallejo is producing out of nowhere. Renato Nunez, Rio Ruz. I mean, this team, Hunter Alberto is leading the MLB in hits. This Orioles team is just very surprising. A lot of fun guys here. A lot of interesting players to watch. I love watching the Orioles. Definitely going to check this game out later. Zach Godley, though, can't suggest him. Can't suggest Wade LeBlanc either versus Red Sox lineup. We'll see how Red Sox have fared against lefties so far. Boston's been league average against lefties, so no advantage there in getting Wade LeBlanc. JD Martinez with 2 homers, Vasquez with 1, and Pilar with 1 against Wade LeBlanc. I'll say Pilar and Vasquez are guys you're going to get. Martinez, though, 5,800. Get Martinez in your lineups. I'm apprehensive to ever suggest you guys these expensive guys, but your lineup's going to have expensive guys. So make JD Martinez one of your expensive guys today. Next game up, last game up, first game of the day, 12:35 start time for Marlins versus Nationals. Humberto Mejia going against that Nationals team, and Anibal Sanchez of the Nationals going against this Marlins team. 1 home run for Forsythe, 1 for Rojas, and 1 for Joyce against Anibal Sanchez. Definitely target Rojas. I was always a Forsythe guy. He's never shown the pop, but he obviously has some pop against, not obviously, no doubles. Don't avoid Forsythe, especially if you're going for really cheap. Forsythe could be a solid option. Matt Joyce, though, does have a double. Matt Joyce and Rojas both have a double and a home run, so they have more power against Anibal Sanchez. Corey Dickerson, I think, homered yesterday, so definitely keep your eye on Dickerson. I think I mentioned him yesterday, too, and he did homer. So Dickerson's an interesting guy. Another guy, like I was talking about, where there's a lot of skills in Dickerson, where I wouldn't be surprised if Dickerson becomes like not a crazy good player, but I think he has a higher ceiling than what he's shown, and he's a really safe floor player. I always like Corey Dickerson. I think he's one of the guys that hit a ball that bounced. He always, that shows me a guy has really good hand-eye, but not the best plate discipline. If he just changes his profile a little bit, becomes a little bit more selective, takes a little bit more pitches, and increase that on-base percentage, Corey Dickerson could become a way more relevant fantasy baseball option instead of being a fringier guy who's just empty batting average for the most part. That's it for the matchups today, guys. I'm just going to show you my pitchers that I like for today. Pitchers of the day for August 23rd, 2020. Mike Minor, Ross Stripling, Carlos Carrasco, and budget pitchers, Corbin Burns and Luke Weaver. I'm just going to say it one more time. I really do like Corbin Burns. I watched a couple of his outings earlier this year. Really, really good stuff. Looks like he will be able to get guys out easily. Not a lot of, just great stuff. Kind of like Dylan Cease, where you just know the stuff's there. He's worked out of the bullpen. That does concern me, so I am a little bit concerned about how much he will get stretched out. But definitely take a look at Corbin Burns today. That's it for today, guys. Good luck, and have a good one.